Coming up today, President Park Geun-hye is set for a September of summits as she prepares to head to Russia, China and Laos. She'll attempt to build international support for Seoul's North Korea policies. After a rough few years, shares of Samsung Electronics hit an all-time closing high as investors pile in, encouraged by the success of the Korean company's turnaround plan. First, it's day 13 of the 2016 Olympics in Rio. We have all the latest sporting action from Brazil. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello to our viewers around the world at 6 a.m. on Friday, August 19th here in Seoul. Thank you ever so much for joining us today. I'm Mark Broom. Our top story this morning, President Park Geun-hye will head on another long diplomacy tour next month. The South Korean leader will attend some multilateral meetings in Russia, China and Laos, including the G20 and the ASEAN +3 summit. Our presidential office correspondent Song Ji-sun has her itinerary.
President Park Geun-hye's week-long trip will start in Vladivostok, Russia, where she'll address the Eastern Economic Forum and sit down with Russian President Vladimir Putin on September 3rd. President Park will then take off to Hangzhou, China for the G20 summit, where world leaders will gather to discuss ways to make a more innovative, interconnected and inclusive global economy. A summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping has not yet been confirmed, but during her two-day visit, President Park will likely call for global cooperation in reining in North Korea's threats, while seeking understanding for Seoul and Washington's decision to deploy the U.S. missile defense system THAAD against those threats, as Beijing and Moscow have both expressed opposition to the decision.
If it weren't for North Korea's ever-increasing nuclear and missile threats, it would never have been necessary to make the decision to deploy THAAD. Before criticizing our purely defensive measure, Beijing should call out Pyongyang for violating peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula and in Northeast Asia.
President Park's focus will shift to business as she lands in Laotian capital Vientiane, where she'll seek to strengthen South Korea's strategic partnership with Southeast Asian countries. Seoul will take part in the ASEAN +3 summit, which includes Korea, China and Japan, followed by the East Asia Summit. President Park will continue her official visit to Laos with the summit focused on revving up the bilateral partnership and boosting trade.
앞으로도 우리는 보호무역주의와 신고립주의 극복을 이끌어가는 선도 국가가 되어야 합니다. 금년 하반기에 아셈 G20과 같은 다자 정상회의가 예정돼 있고 우리는 각국과 FDA 협상을 추진할 여러 계획도 가지고 있습니다.
During her trip, President Park will seek to take a leading role on the diplomatic, economic and security fronts in order to foster mutual growth and prosperity in the region. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
Now, news of a high-ranking North Korean diplomat in London fleeing to South Korea shocked the world and dealt an embarrassing blow to Pyongyang. Many are wondering what motivated him to defect and if this is just the beginning and more to come. For a closer look at what could be a sign of growing instability among the North's elites, Connie Kim reports.
The unexpected defection of North Korea's deputy ambassador to the UK, Tae Yong-ho, set a landmark case reflecting Pyongyang's internal instability. Although details of Tae's defection has not been released, a Seoul's Unification Ministry official told reporters on Thursday that North Koreans in general are choosing to defect for more diverse reasons besides economic and political circumstances. In fact, Tae deserted his post partly due to his son's future education. The UK-based Guardian reported that one of Tae's sons was expected to enroll in Imperial College London this fall.
Considering that Tae worked in London for almost 10 years, he may have been more familiar to Western culture than to the North Korean political system itself. Considering many factors, Tae's children's education may have given him a decisive reason to defect.
With the chances of seeing more defections from North Koreans working abroad, the regime reportedly sent inspectors to monitor them closely. A source well acquainted with Pyongyang said Kim Jong-un ordered his team of inspectors to get rid of possible defection factors. North Korea experts have also mentioned the possibility of re-education among members of the North Korean elite to ensure loyalty to the regime.
There's a high possibility that North Korea could engage in ideological censorship among the second and third generations of revolutionary leaders and the upper class, as well as check on the loyalty to Kim Jong-un among diplomats and officials working abroad.
While the high-ranking North Korean official's defection to South Korea serves as a significant case reflecting instability of Kim Jong-un's grip on power, the general consensus is that Tae's defection would not lead to a collapse of the regime, with some suggesting defections may be partly due to the strong international sanctions on the regime. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
Now, allegations of corruption involving a top advisor to President Park Geun-hye could be turned over to prosecutors if summoned. Senior Secretary for Civil Affairs Woo Byung-woo would be the first official of his rank to report to the prosecutor's office as a suspect. Until now, the case has been handled by Lee Sok-soo, an independent investigator under the presidential office. On Thursday, Lee requested the Seoul prosecution take over the case. The presidential office has yet to comment on the development. Who has been under intense pressure to step down following a series of corruption allegations involving his family. It's day 13 of the Rio Olympics, and we've got some good news for our Korean viewers around the world. South Korea has grabbed another medal, this time in women's badminton doubles. Team Korea's Jung Kyung-eun and Shin Seung-chan smashed their way to a bronze on Thursday. The pair beat a duo from China, ranked second in the world, 2-0. The victory never really looked in doubt, with Jung's quick defense and Shin's accurate drop shots overpowering the Chinese pair. Their bronze is Team Korea's only medal from badminton at this year's Olympics. And some good news as well in women's golf. Korean star Park Inbee is in a commanding position after round 2 on 10 under par, one shot ahead of Stacey Lewis of the United States. The world number 5 and winner of 7 LPGA titles finished strongly, holding 3 birdies in the final 4 holes of round 2. Kim Se-young is 3 under par, 7 shots behind the leader. Korean-born New Zealander Lydia Ko, the world number 1, is also on 3 under par at the halfway point. Now, there may only be 3 days left of the Rio Olympics, but there's one sport that is yet to start, and that's rhythmic gymnastics. Team Korea's Yeon-jae, ranked 5th in the world, is an athlete to keep an eye on. Son finished 5th at the individual all-round back in the 2012 Olympics. If she makes the podium this year, it will be South Korea's first ever medal in rhythmic gymnastics. The 22-year-old won 17 medals at this year's Rhythmic Gymnastics World Cup Series. Brazilian TV has aired a video that appears to show 4 US Olympic swimmers did not tell the whole truth about their story of getting robbed at gunpoint in Rio. The security camera footage appears to show the swimmers, including gold medalists Ryan Lochte and Jimmy Fagan, in a dispute with staff at a gas station. A police source and staff at the station say the swimmers damaged a bathroom door, tore down a poster and also urinated on the wall of the station's convenience store. A police chief said that in theory one or all of them might be charged for false communication of a crime and for damaging private property. On Sunday, Lochte told NBC that armed men posed as police and robbed them. Former Olympic table tennis champion Ryu Seung-min has become the second South Korean to join the International Olympic Committee after Moon Dae-sung, whose 8-year term will end soon. Among 23 candidates, Yu finished second in a poll of the participating athletes at the Rio Olympics, earning him one of 4 coveted seats available on the IOC's Athletes Commission. Yu won the 2004 Olympic gold in the men's singles and contributed to a team bronze in 2008 and a team silver in London in 2012. There are 15 members on the Athletes Commission. They enjoy the same rights as other IOC members, including voting on Olympic host cities. Now in other news, President Park Geun-hye has been following up on her initiative to tackle youth unemployment by paying a visit to a so-called school-to-work high school in the western city of Incheon. The program she introduced back in 2014 offers young people a chance to experience real-world jobs at companies that will hire them permanently after they graduate. She stressed the system is what Korea's educational system needs.
최고가 되는 명장이 되기를 기원을 했습니다. 일과 학습을 병행할 수 있는 그런 기회를 가질 수 있도록 제도적으로 뒷받침해 나가도록 그렇게 하겠습니다.
The government plans to increase the number of apprenticeship schools from the current 60 to 200 by next year. Since the program started, more than 21,000 students have worked at some 4,000 participating companies. Now, Samsung Electronics saw its stock soar to an all-time high on Thursday, and expectations for an even better performance going forward. The tech giant's advance also helped lift Korea's main index, the Kospi. Kim Hae-sung takes a closer look.
Shares of Samsung Electronics hit a new high on Thursday, jumping 4.7% to close at about $1,480. The new record comes 1 month after the electronics giant reported its best quarterly profit in more than 2 years, thanks to strong sales of the Galaxy S7, aggressive cost-cutting, and sluggish sales of Apple's iPhone. The success of Samsung Electronics' flagship Galaxy S7 smartphones have already fueled a 30% rally in shares this year, and that's expected to continue on high expectations for the Galaxy Note series.
The Note 7 is expected to outsell its predecessor. Its memory chips and OLED products will continue to give Samsung Electronics a competitive edge at least until early next year. Also, expectations for Samsung Group's restructuring help boost its share price.
A part of that potential restructuring was announced after market closing Thursday, but traders had already priced in the rumors. Samsung Life Insurance said it will buy a 9% stake in Samsung Securities from another affiliate. That gave credence to expectations that Samsung is taking steps to become a financial holding company. With gains for most of Samsung affiliates on Thursday and easing worries about a possible U.S. interest rate hike, Korea's main index as a whole also got a boost. The benchmark Kospi rose a little over 0.5% to end at 2,055. The won closed at 1,107 against the greenback. Industry insiders predict that if the Korean won remains stable, Samsung Electronics could post an operating profit of more than $27 billion this year. Kim Hae-sung, Arirang News.
Now, it remains pretty sweltering hot across the nation of Korea, and this continuing heat wave is proving to be a significant threat to the livelihoods of fishermen in the southern part of the country. The warmer waters deprive fish in those waters of oxygen and helps spread fish-killing diseases as well. Kim Jong-soo reports.
The ongoing heat wave on the Korean peninsula is endangering business at major fisheries along the southern coast. These include the main fishing towns of Gyeongsangnam-do province, namely Tongyeong, Geoje, and Gosong. Normally, sea temperatures there range between 22 and 24 degrees Celsius, but this summer they've risen as high as 28 to 30 degrees. The city of Tongyeong in particular boasts a thriving maritime economy with more than 500 traditional fishing families. But over the past 10 days, the city has reported combined losses of nearly 500,000 rockfish, worth some 340 million won, or $307,000 US. Meanwhile, in just 3 days this week, fishermen in Gyeongsang County have lost 39,000 fish of various types. And in Koje, the locals have lost 20,000 fish, mainly rockfish and filefish, worth about 10 million won, or nearly $10,000. Experts say the warmer waters affect fish in two main ways.
First of all, elevated temperatures decrease the amount of oxygen in the water, making it very hard for fish to survive. Secondly, the lower oxygen levels increase stress levels in the fish, causing them to regurgitate their food. That material is contaminated very quickly in the heat and causes diseases in the fish.
Local fishermen have responded by adding liquefied oxygen to the water and pumping in as much cool water as possible, but some say that won't cut it.
We are doing our best to control the water temperature, but it's still over 30 degrees. It's a very dangerous situation.
On Wednesday, local authorities launched special teams to investigate the exact amount of the damages. They say the losses are expected to pile up as a significant amount of dead fish remain deep underwater. Another lingering problem for the fishermen is that, for insurance purposes, warmer sea temperatures do not count as a natural disaster, making insurance compensation at this point virtually impossible. Kim Jong-soo, Arirang News.
OK, well, that's where we're going to leave it on this Friday morning here in Seoul. For more of the latest, don't forget to check out the website arirang.com/news. We'll be back throughout the day with more bulletins. Our next one coming up at 10 a.m. Korea time. So until then, goodbye.